We really tried to create a speaking team here that's like all proven, man. They've all done it and done it with some success. In fact, I can even, let's see.
Well, you have two of the speakers are from Shark Tank, right?
I have two speakers from Shark Tank. Yes.
Which when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. But I wonder how much they know about agencies. And then I saw you mention they actually own agencies themselves.
That's right.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the High Level Spotlight Sessions, where we showcase awesome marketers doing awesome marketing. Today, I am joined once again by JC Hite. He's the founder of Hite Digital, the founder of Digital Agency Hacker. He's got an incredible event coming up that we are proud and excited to be sponsoring. JC, you guys have built a monster of a business over there. You mentioned you guys are in like the top 600 on the Forbes list this year, and like top 10 agencies?
Top 10 agencies, dude. We're growing, man. We got 30, just looked yesterday, we got 36 new team members.
Wow.
36. We're at about 185, 190, give or take team members. Mm-hmm. And dude, it's been crazy. It's been crazy.
Well, I'm super excited to have you on. I'm excited to talk about the summit that's coming up. I do want to flesh out some things that I think will be beneficial for our community because, you know, I talk to a lot of coaches, a lot of experienced agency entrepreneurs, people, you know, 7-figure agencies. They've gotten there. They're pretty buttoned up. They've got great strategies and stuff in place. But I've never seen anyone actually franchise the agency model. And that to me is like, you really have, like, if you're buying a franchise of like a Subway or something, like you expect there's no surprises. It's a tried and true business model and you're expecting to make money. You know what I mean? How did you get your agency model to the point where you felt like, yeah, we could franchise this?
So first off, when someone told me like, JC, you should franchise this, I was like, what? I don't want to own a McDonald's or a Subway, or like, I don't want to, like, what the junk? And so I'll start with that, but let's back up. So Hite, a lot of people know of us as a white label company. That's where we started. That's where we were scaling. That's where we're growing. I think you and I did a spotlight actually on fulfillment maybe a couple of years ago. And we loved it, dude. We loved it. And you guys watching in, you'll be able to relate to this, but we had a big problem as a white label company. We were growing, we were scaling. I mean, we probably hit 40 employees in year one. We were up to like 60, 70 by year two. I mean, like we were doing
when you say white label, you mean white label service provider, right? You were
white
doing
label
things
service provider. Yeah. So we were doing SEO, PPC, Facebook ads for all of you agencies out there, right? And so we get up, fast forward, for the first 3 years of Hite, we had about 105 white label partners. Again, we were growing. But when I looked at our portfolio, we had about 20 agencies that were really growing and scaling every month, growing. We had about 40% of our agencies that were just staying the same, to be honest with you. They were hovering the 10K, 8K, 15K. They just couldn't. And then we had about 40% that would fall off. They would die. They just wouldn't be able to, grow. They wouldn't be able to scale. And I kept going back and forth and going like, why? Why is this? Like, we're product people. And I don't know if you know this, but I exited an agency before we started Hite. We had 350 team members, 1,500 clients. Like, wow. I know product really well, and we have an amazing product team. And so why aren't we scaling? And so I started digging in, just became overly obsessed with why are we not having consistency among our partners? Go High Level, probably y'all experience this as well. You have agencies that use GHL that are just crushing it. You have people in the middle, and you got why? What is up? And so my initial idea was just an amazing idea, because all of my ideas are just amazing. You know how it is like, let me go hire a coach. Let me go find a coaching program out there that I love. That's like, they're really good. They're dependable. They're trusting. And I will pay, Chase. I will pay that coach, that coaching program for all my white labels. That was the original idea. That was a great idea. The coach gets a ton of clients. That is a good
idea, right?
Maybe gives me a discount, and then my white labels grow. And therefore, guess what? I grow. I mean, at 105 white labels, just imagine this. If each partner just grew one client a month, by the end of the year, that's 1,200 new clients, right? Like, this isn't hard. This should be easy. So I went out and I probably hired 6, 7 of the different coaching programs. I paid cash for 2 or 3 white label to go through each one. The results weren't any different. And I'm friends with these guys. You're friends with, I know these coaches. I know they're good people, right? And so I love these coaches. I know they're good programs. I'm not speaking anything, but here's what I found, Chase. Here's what I found is that, I don't know, I'm going to bring over a whiteboard here. Actually,
I love it.
Is that cool?
Reel it in.
All right. So when we scale an agency, I think there's 4 pillars to scaling, right? And maybe the camera can zoom in on my little board here. So there's 4 pillars to scaling. All right. So number 1 is quality product. Quality product, right? This isn't rocket science, but the end part is where we mess up. So number 1 is quality product. You have good SEO, PPC, stuff that's reliable, stuff that's dependable. This is great. All right. Over here, you've got systems and operations. Again, what I'm about to tell you right now, it's not anything crazy. If we have an amazing product, but we don't have systems, we'll never get above 20 clients, right? Over here, we have sales and fulfillment, sales and prospecting. Again, rocket science, right? Come on, JC, give me something more. And then here, we had trouble with this category, but what we finally put it as is business intelligence. Who should I hire? Who should I fire? What should I sell? What should I price it at? Like business intelligence. Here's the issue. And this is my theory anyway. In business, let's think about Microsoft and any company out there respectable that you want. Here's what we know. These things are all different departments, but they have to work seamlessly together. And that's what we're missing, right? So what ends up happening is that you go over to Hite and you're like, man, these guys are going to white label my product or DashClicks or you name all of them, right? And they could be good, they could be bad, it's irrelevant. But you're going to go over to Hite and you're like, JC, dude, I'm wanting to grow, I'm wanting to scale. And JC, what should I be focused on? What should I do? Man, you know what? SEO is my favorite product. Dude, I think you would crush it at SEO. Like we should be selling more of this. Oh, okay. Yeah, dude, that makes sense. Yeah, you're my product guy. That makes total sense, right? And so then systems and ops. I mean, I'm on here with Chase, right? Who's the biggest, most influential person in technology and SaaS and systems in our industry? Mr. Sean Clark. So I'm on a webinar with Mr. Sean, and Mr. Sean says, dude, you should be focused on what? SaaS. SaaS is really good. Let me tell you all about, let me tell you why, let me tell you. Then I go over here and I've hired this coach and this awesome coach. And, you know, this coach is like, you know what? What's the easiest thing to sell? Facebook ads. Definitely the easiest thing that this is what we should be doing, Facebook ads, right? And so what ends up happening is that all of these are amazingly right in and of themselves. I could build an entire amazing, beautiful agency in SaaS. I could do it over here. It's really irrelevant. But the problem is, as entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship is tough. It's really hard. There's so many ups and downs, right? No doubt. And so what ends up happening is like, crap, I haven't been able to sell SEO and I'm trying. But Sean said to SaaS, so what I'm going to do? I'm going to pivot. I'm going to shift. And so I'm going to start doing this and like, oh man, I just can't figure out. Okay, well then this is wrong. This is right. And so instead of like doubling down in the strategy, I'm pivoting all the time. It's chaos, right? And you see this, right? Like you see people every day. I got a new offer, right? Yeah. I was on with a friend just the other day, and he was like, oh, you know, he's like, how's it going? He's like, dude, we're growing, we're like, it's amazing. Really? How many clients do you have? Oh, we have 20 clients. Didn't you had that a year ago? Yeah. But like, we finally dialed in. We finally, you know, I mean, they're onto that launch, right? And so how do we build an agency where all of this is together? See, when I started, I didn't want sales. I do not like to sell. It's not my,
I can relate to that.
I love people. I can talk to anyone. I'm actually a decent seller because of my ability for relationships, but I don't like it. I don't even like systems. This is my world. I love this. I like working with these people. I like engineers. We're quiet. We like to play ping pong. Like it's nothing crazy, right? But this was the issue. And so what we did in our franchise world is very simple. We said, hey, why we have to build all of these together. We have a SaaS offer, but it fully integrates with our product and it's fully aligned in our sales process. And our sales process is fully aligned in the products that we do good at, right? And oh, by the way, our intelligence isn't based on 4 clients. Our intelligence is based on the thousands of clients within. And so the franchise model, really what we do is we try to centralize information. We centralize fulfillment. We centralize operations and technology so that most of our entrepreneurs can focus on what they are really, really good at, which is building relationships, selling clients, and keeping those relationships long-term. And in the franchise model, all it is, it's about consolidation. It's about centralizing and making sure that everyone is incredibly good. Because when you start an agency, bro, it's so hard. It's so hard because what you have to have to win in business is two opposites. In business, you have to have, like you guys at Go High Level, I'm sure you have this within your leadership. You have to have the dreamer, the wisher, the big thinker, the visionary, and you have to have the operation, someone really, really good at ops and product and the details, the get it done person on your team. And most of us as entrepreneurs, it's just me at the top. And then what am I doing? I'm hiring a bunch of VAs. I'm trying to manage the shit when it's not my strong suit, right? And so the franchise model is simple. We believe that we're stronger together than we are separate. We are a bunch of very much imperfect people, but it's working, man. It is working. Our FDD came out from last year and we're showing remarkable numbers, across the board. And franchising is very regulated. So, if you just go to a coach and you say, hey, Chase, tell me your success stories, you're just going to tell what you want to tell, right? You can even lie a little bit and no one's going to regulate you. In franchising, I'm regulated. If I legally tell you anything outside of what I can tell you, I get in a lot of trouble, right? And so in a franchise model, you're investing in a program that is, they have to give you what's called a full disclosure. I got to show you my best. I have to show you my worst. I have to show you my averages, the medians. I have to show you all of it. It's full disclosure. And so it allows people to make really good decisions. It's been fun, dude. We're 14 months in to legalize it.
That's crazy. I mean, that's very interesting in a way because, like you said, it is very regulated. And it's also, in my experience working with franchises, the franchise controls everything. So there are lots of things the franchisees think that they want to do or think that they know how to do better, but the franchise is like, no, you can't do that. And so I could see that helping in a world where it's like, oh, everyone just wants to keep pivoting to the new shiny thing because they saw the next influencer talking about it. Is that something you feel like the franchise helps control? It's like, stop, like keep your head focused in one direction. It's all here. Like, we know it's tried and true. Stop getting distracted and just focus on executing.
So I think there's a couple of things there. Number one, every franchise is unique, right? So like you can or cannot do, it all depends, right? So like you're thinking of my McDonald's, which is incredibly strict, but you could also look at like Keller Williams, right? Every office is unique. They all kind of do their, very much independent thing. And so or a Ford dealership, like you don't even think of a Ford dealership as being Ford, right? Like, but they're licensing, the name, right? To be able to at that dealership. So there's all these different variables and variations of a franchise model. But I do think, being distracted is something that, you're probably not going to prevent in a franchise, but what you will is we get more information and more data. And so when we're inquiring about some type of technology, well, we've got a full tech team that is inquiring about that and getting us real data. We have a churn analysis. So every single month we lose, whatever amount of clients, maybe we lose 50 clients in a month. We have a lot of clients. That sounds like a lot, but it's not. We have very low churn, but we now can use that. So we're not just looking at Caleb's clients and like, why is he losing? I'm looking at a much bigger picture. So often in business, we feel certain things and the feeling isn't the reality, right? Oh man, I feel like I'm losing tons of. Okay, but let's look at the data. We got to look at the numbers. We have to have enough numbers. So at Hite, we have a beautiful system tied up with GHL, but also using Salesforce. We are very data centric. And how do we make decisions? And then allowing our franchise. Now, one of the things that sometimes misconstrued though is, man, I got to do what Hite says. It's not really like there's no limiting factors in becoming a franchise. Could you make a bunch of crazy posts about Donald Trump and like gay rights and like, yeah, probably we're going to that's probably like not going to happen. It's not going to be allowed, but like you want to sell SaaS or you want to sell creative or you want to go sell a news or whatever, or you want to sell for $1 million versus 100, or you want to test a new product. Like there's very rare limitations in our franchise agreement on how and what you can operate within. And so for us, one of the things that's very particular though about franchising is finding your tribe, because this is a marriage. Dare I say, it's probably easier for you to divorce your wife than to get out of, a franchise agreement. It's very, very centralized. So for us, we're a company, we're very big on family, right? Like every kid at Hite is on scholarship. We have a daycare inside our office. We're we're very dedicated to having a family culture. So if your priority is more about making money than keeping your family, you probably won't like some of the way we operate. We're also very big in faith, right? And so like we say prayers in our office. We're kind of weird. We literally have a full-time minister at Hite, right? And so if you're uncomfortable and you don't like that type of stuff, it doesn't mean you have to be, go to church 3 days a week and clock in and, tithe and prove it. But like, you got to be okay with that type of stuff if you want to fit into our culture, right? For us. And so what we do is if like someone's like, maybe you're watching this, you're like, I'm interested. That's all it is, right? I'm interested. Then there's a very long process of a lot of calls, really understanding, is this a good fit? You could literally talk to every franchise, which we encourage you to. Every franchise, good, bad, ugly, what's happening? You could talk to every single team member. You talk to leadership, and on that, you're interviewing us, but we're also interviewing you. Because here's the deal. Sure. We sell Chase on a franchise. He comes in and he sucks and he goes bankrupt. I have to report that forever. Right. I got to say like, oh, we sold 20 franchises last year. Only 7 went bankrupt. Come on. I'll never sell again. Right. And so it's super important that when you join Hite, like you're good, you're stable, you want to scale, you have the capabilities, so on and so forth. The other big thing about franchising, which I think a lot of us in our community aren't thinking about, is what is the end game? What is the end game? Are you going to sell your business? Are you going to hire a manager to walk into your business? Are you like what? Man, I hate this question, but I think it's a question we have to be asking, Chase. But I would imagine that 50% of the people watching this video, if let's say you're the man or the woman, you're the main provider, you're running your agency, it's doing 10 to 20K a month in revenue. If you died, what would happen? Right? Like, would the agency keep going? In 90% of our cases, the answer would be no. Right. And so in a franchise model, let's ask some questions. Chase, what do you think would be easier to sell, a McDonald's or Chase's Burger Shack?
For sure.
Okay. What do you think would get the higher multiple? What do you think would sell more for?
Oh yeah, of course. The McDonald's, it's proven.
What do you think would be easier? Like, let's say, man, I want to hire a GM and I really want to step to the side a little bit. Which would be easier, to hire a GM that handles everything in your agency, from innovation to product to systems to hiring to recruiting to unit, or hey, you need to lead sales and service. The franchisor takes care of the rest, right? And so anyway, it's a lot of fun, dude. It's a lot of fun.
Super interesting. It's crazy. I mean, you don't really think about how all the legality and the hoops that come along with franchise. It's a serious deal. So it's pretty impressive because, like you said, you do have to reveal all the good and the bad. There's no sugarcoating what's going on. So I mean, congrats on that. It's super interesting.
I appreciate it. The power's in the numbers, dude. I mean, right now we have 22 offices across the US and we're all one. So like, Tatiana in Dallas has Texas A&M as a client. So Chase, if you were starting off tomorrow and let's say in theory, you only had 10 clients. No, you don't. You have 180 team members and you have clients like Texas A&M because you are us and we are you, right? And so we get a share in all of those resources and the abilities, which completely changes the sales pitch, right? So like we pay, Dave Ramsey is one of our sponsors, for example. That's a really big name, Dave Ramsey. Everyone knows who Dave is, right? So you go to the podcast. So as if we were just one agency, that's a lot of money for one agency. But if you split that across everyone who all get to use that name equally and that pitch equally, it's very powerful. And so everything becomes way more affordable.
I could see the sharing of the resources is probably the most attractive thing in my mind, because when you're building an agency, going from one to a team is so hard. And looking back on the journey that I went through, so many mishires, so many figured it out 2 years later. Wow, that really caught, we should be doubled by now, but we made that one mistake. And, if we only had the money to afford a really good, this type of person, we could grow so much faster. With the franchise model, I'm assuming you kind of get access to all of that. If I put my hand up and say, hey, I don't have a great graphic designer, I need better, you're probably just giving it to me.
No, it's already, all the fulfillment is centralized in our offices at corporate, right? And so a lot of times we building a team is really tough. Like it's really
Super
tough to find good talent and keep good talent. And it's even more tough since the pandemic. And that's something we at corporate have gotten pretty good at. Like we hire really good people. We normally keep them around a really long time. We have great QA, great training. And so letting, again, we become one unit. You still own 100% of your agency. We don't own a piece of it. Like you still have full rights. You could, but it's like a Shelter Insurance or a Keller Williams. And here's the other thing, Chase. I truly believe, and I don't mean this as a, whatever, take it with a grain of salt. I truly believe that in the next 10 years, you'll have to either be a part of some franchise organization or some type of bigger corporate. And I'll give you some examples. 30 years ago, every realtor in the country was independent. Every realtor in the country was. In fact, it was a similar industry. Normally you didn't sell your own properties, you sold other people, kind of like white label, right? You didn't need an education. There was no certificates at that point. You didn't have to have a license, right? And as long as you built really good relationships, you could do well. And then a company by the name of Century 21 came along, and they're the ones that started. They were like, holy crap, we have thousands of agents all spending thousands of dollars on website. What if we built one website and it was the best website ever? What if we got one system and it was the best system ever? Like if you add up whatever, we would do it at a fraction of the cost. When's the last time you saw an independent real estate agent, Chase?
Right. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And plus there's like the liability side, right? The consumer protection side of things, right? Like a lot of people get burned by people that are just not, they don't really know what they're doing. They're calling themselves an agency, right? Because they've been running Facebook ads for their sister's bakery or whatever. And now all of a sudden they're an expert. And so, yeah, I with a franchise, with what happened in the real estate industry, you feel protected. Oh, yeah, we're working with a Keller Williams agent, or we're working with a Hite agency. So I could see how that would play out in our space as well, because I hear this all the time. Oh, this is our fourth agency that we're trying out now. Business owners are to the point where they've been through not just one, but multiple agencies and haven't found the results that they were looking for. And so, yeah, I could really see how at some point the market is going to demand a little bit more vetting of some sort.
I'm in a lot of conversations with higher people at Google and Facebook and some of those. And like, this is a big, you're getting into a big topic there of what is it, I think in the next 4 or 5 years. So what ended up happening there with real estate, sorry, I went from one backed up more and then I'm backing up more. With real estate, think about this. Imagine pre-licensing, before you have to have a license to sell real estate now. But like, imagine the first person that said, hey guys, I think you should be licensed before you could sell dirt to other people. Like, that's what? But Century 21, Remax, those big franchises, they were the biggest people lobbying for this to happen because they wanted the barrier of entry. They want Keller Williams, and we'll help you get that. We'll come right? So you have some big players out here that are lobbying for that. In fact, if they can figure out how to do it, because it's one of the few industries right now where you give someone money, and we're all great at sales. What do we call it? It's not an expense. This is an investment, right? So investments are regulated, my friend. Like investments, we're talking about stocks and bonds and franchises, and investments are regulated, right? And so I think it's just a matter of time before we have some type of certification. And if it doesn't happen privately, it'll end up happening, I think, through the public sector as well. And so and we'll ride that wave. We'll be able to make it happen. I think in the franchise program, there's two things that I think are really big that I wasn't prepared for, but afterwards I learned. When you grow a business, Go High Level's doing this as well. It's not so much about what you do right and like you're like the SaaS, like you got a business, you got a great product. It's more about putting out fires and solving problems. When a problem comes up, how do we deal with it? How do we navigate it? When COVID comes up, how do we, it's not about the good plan, it's about the bad part of the plan, right?
Totally.
And so for us in the franchise model, that's what's powerful. I've got 22 owners, not employees, owners that all bring unique, things. I got like Blake Snodgrass. He sold like $2 million in Facebook courses and is a guru of Facebook. We got Adam McChesney, who's amazing at sales. We got Caleb, who's a beast at SEO, right? And so all of these bring different elements. If COVID happens, you want to have a big team with a lot of smart people around, right? Like when COVID happens, right? And so whatever comes at us, we've got the ability, and we're trying to expand that, right? Of like, man, we got an A team. Anything that comes, we've got 3 or 4 or 5 people we can bring to the table and go, how do we fix this? How do we solve this? How do we navigate this? Because as Simon Sinek says, it's not about scaling and how fast you go. It's really about staying in business long-term. If you stay in business, you'll always have the opportunity to scale. But the moment you go 2 months with losing money, you got to find a job. You know what I mean? And so how do we?
No, I could totally see that. Putting out fires is, I mean, if you could just say, oh my gosh, our biggest client's website just tanked because of this thing. What the heck do we do? Having an SEO expert who can be like, oh, I know exactly what to do. Trust me, like relax. First of all, the world's not going to end. Here's what we're going to go do. I mean, how do you figure that out on your own if you're just an agency owner, other than going through it like we all did and looking back and going, man, if we'd have known what to do, we'd be doing 2 million a year right now instead of wherever we're at. So let's shift gears, JC, because I don't want to keep you forever, but I do want to talk about the Commitment Summit, because you guys are putting on an insane event in Costa Rica, which is like, just makes it even better, that we're really excited to be involved with. So you're bringing together a bunch of agencies, right? Like 200 something?
So I say, we're trying to actually keep it small, but 250 agency owners is what it's going to be. So we've got, a big stage, There's some killer people coming, big names, big thoughts. I mean, this isn't going to be small, but only 250 people. So I think of like TNC and 10X and like a big, but instead of being like, 400 rows back looking at the screen, this is going to be intense. It's going to be up front.
Yeah, no, I mean, to me, that sounds like a lot of people for a destination event like this. The setting looks absolutely gorgeous. So you live in Nicaragua. So I'm assuming you spent a lot of time in Costa Rica. How'd you come to pick that venue?
Well, one day we're going to have one in Nicaragua. Right now, it's a little crazy. It's a little crazy from a political standpoint, but Costa Rica, they have better airlines, they have a beautiful resort, so on and so forth. So we actually take our entire company to this resort every year, and it's luxury, all you can eat, all you can drink, several amazing restaurants, a world-class spa. Like it's going to be the best vacation. But I told a friend the other day, this is the event your wife will get really excited about. Excited about.
Oh, mine is already like, picking out bathing suits and stuff.
There you go. So, this event is all about growth, man. And we wanted to come together. I'm in a journey right now where I'm trying to find like real truth, like what really makes a business get to the $1 billion mark. I'm not talking about 50,000 or 20,000. I'm not talking about like theory or ideas. I'm talking about like real tactical proven stuff. And so we really tried to create a speaking team here that's like all proven, man. They've all done it and done it with some success. In fact, I can even, let's see.
Well, you have two of the speakers are from Shark Tank, right?
I have 2 speakers from Shark Tank. Yes.
Which when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. But I wonder how much they know about agencies. And then I saw you mention they actually own agencies themselves.
That's right. So Kevin Harrington owns a pretty big agency. He's invested in several different ones. But Kevin actually, so one of the things that at Hite, right? Like you think, oh, they've got 180 team members, tons, like, man, they must be investing a lot in Facebook ads and automation. Like, we don't do any of that. We do strategic partnerships. And so one of the cool things about Kevin owns over 1,000 companies. He founded so many companies, but he's actually never invented a single thing in his life. Like he actually has one product. He says, I invented one product, and he showcases it. And it's like the weakest sales product that he has in his. Kevin is, how do I partner with people to make something happen? Like how do I go out and find the best strategic partnerships to be able to scale and to grow my businesses? And his agencies, they normally work with very elite individuals. Like he's very well connected with Rudy Maurer, who is one of our speakers. I don't know, a lot of people know who Rudy is. And several others. With Daymond John, he's actually coming more on a branding side. So how do we as an agency brand ourselves and scale and grow and get funding and find capital and things like that nature? The one that I get the most questions on, I don't know if I can do a screen share here, but the one I get the most questions on is Willie Robertson. Do you know who Willie is?
The Duck Dynasty guy?
Duck Dynasty guy. What the junk? Here's the deal. So I know Willie. I like him a lot. I love the family. A lot of similar values. Why the crap would somebody from Duck Dynasty? Here's the deal. You know how many duck hunters there are in the United States?
I have no idea.
Less than 1 million duck hunters. Less than 1 million duck hunters.
Okay.
So what's the likelihood of someone who makes duck calls for 0.01 whatever percent of the population to be known by every person in the United States? That's nuts. How do you know who this guy is? And you've probably never duck hunted in your life. How do you know who he is? But you know, this guy is incredible with branding. How to get it out there. How do you get on a TV show? How do you get your family involved? How do you this guy is amazing. So as an agency, one of the biggest elements, if you're just playing the Facebook ads game, it's getting more and more expensive, less dialed in. I feel like every year, the paid game, but branding yourself, like how do we brand ourselves so that people want to work with us? They want to be attached to us, right? Duck calls. And every single person listening know who he is. My wife knows who he is. My wife is in Central America. They don't even do hunting, so we got a lot of good ones. Jesse Itzler, he's one of the few that really doesn't have a big connection directly with agencies, but Jesse is a guy that I have personally, if there's anybody I could go hang out with one day, it's him. So he sold a company to Berkshire Hathaway. He sold a company to Coca-Cola. His wife is Sarah Blakely, who just sold Spanx. This guy So he owns the Atlanta Hawks, the basketball team, the Atlanta Hawks. He is, but his whole deal is living life to the fullest. In fact, his slogan is build your life resume. So he does crazy things all around the world with his family. And he's going to be talking to us. He'll be the keynote on the last day. We've got Pete Vargas. We got Matt DeSanto. A lot of the community here will know this. Cassim, incredibly big agency in PPC world. We've got a lot of different players here. Miss Vivian, I'll highlight her real quick. So Miss Vivian I say that there's two people. Miss Vivian, her and her husband are multi-billionaires with a B. So a very big number. And Miss Vivian's a good friend. She's been in our office many times. And she had a plane crash. This was about 20 years ago. She had a plane crash and burned 95% of her body, almost died. Her husband went back into the plane and pulled her out, and now has redevoted her life to serving the world and owns a huge hospital. And in Latin America, we don't think about this as being an issue in the States, but in Latin America, we have an issue with burn victims, right? A lot of people in third world still cook, on the ground and on fires and things like this. And so kids, and there's really not a great place. So in Nicaragua, in Central America, if you get burned, if any child gets burned, it's 100% free. Her hospital takes care of it. And so she's doing a lot of really cool things. And so her whole deal is about being an entrepreneur sucks. There's a lot of VUCA, there's a lot of craziness, there's a lot of complexity. You might get burned 95%, but let me tell you, you can come back. And so we got a lot of big speakers. You're going to be on stage. Wow. We're going to be announcing you here in a couple of days, right? We got the owners over there at Design Pickle. We've got a lot of different players, but every single person on this stage is big. Jen is all about PR. Jen owns one of the bigger PR companies. In fact, when Kevin Harrington wrote his last book, which became a New York Times bestselling book, Jen is the one that did all the PR for it to help it get there. And so she plays with big players in the game. We also just signed Dan Henry. Dan Henry will be there as well. And so we got a lot of big players.
Yeah. No, there's definitely some big names in the space. It's definitely going to be a ton of fun. I don't think we've talked about when this is, though. What are the dates?
August 8th, 9th, and 10th. So guys, it's 4 days. It's 3 days, 4 nights, all you can eat, all you can drink. We actually have the lady there that I mentioned, a billionaire. She owns one of the largest rum companies, actually, called Flor de Caña, and it's sold all over Europe, Latin America, and it's now really getting big in the US. they're sponsoring all of the after parties. So you don't have to find out like, oh, where's the club? Where's that? No, they're sponsoring it. So each night will be a different one. We have one that's on the beach. We have one that's at the pool. It's gonna be a big pool party. They're bringing actually rum from the barrels. So everybody's gonna get rum and cigars. I mean, they're going all out for us. Dude, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be insane.
Yeah, this sounds like the makings of an epic event.
Epic event, dude.
And we've got a special for the high level community, right? I was about to say GHL because that is the URL, and it cracks me up because we get this. Is it Go High Level or High Level? And we're like, yes, we've come to own both. So I believe it's ghl.thecommitmentsummit.com, right? Where
that's right.
Folks from the high level community can go and actually score discounted tickets to the event.
That's right. That's right. So what we're doing here, guys, if you're interested in going, you're going to go over to ghl.thecommitmentsummit.com. All right. And what you're going to do is just apply to come. All right. We are filtering. We want to make sure this event will be good for you. We want to make sure this event is going to add value to you. So you're going to apply. You're going to have a meeting with one of our specialists. We're going to talk about the event, what it looks like. You'll need a passport to go, making sure, all of the logistics.
Prerequisite there. You will need a passport.
You will need a passport. We get a lot of questions about COVID, guys. Costa Rica has never had any rules with COVID. So you have no problem going into Costa Rica, coming out. We have a couple options. Number one, you could just bring an at-home test for the US, or number two, we will have a doctor on site that can do a swab test. I recommend the at-home. It's super easy. It's like 5 minutes, but we have all that taken care of as well. And we even have the opportunity, if you want to bring kids, we actually have the resort is going to have day camp for the kids. And so most people, it's just you're bringing your wife. A ticket is for 2 people, but if you do want to bring your kids, I think it's actually like $250 a child is what they charge us. Something like that.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Awesome. Well, JC, thanks for coming on. We are super pumped to be involved. If you guys are interested, which I'm sure you are, after hearing everything that's going on and where it's going to be going on, you can head over to ghl.thecommitmentsummit.com to pick up a discounted ticket for the event, and then we will see you there.
We'll see you there, guys.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on, JC, and thank you guys for watching. We will see you on the next one.